Hi, welcome back to my YouTube channel. So in today's tutorial we are going to learn how to cut the back bodice of this dress. Okay, let's start. So if you are yet to subscribe, kindly do that right now. I already marked my border on the paper. I actually have a problem with the previous back bodies that I cut while editing the front. So now I'm making another one for you. I just marked 3 inches all through for my border line. So these 3 inches will be set aside for a particular purpose. Just keep on following with me. You are going to see the reason why this 3 inches is measured behind there. Now I'm going to start taking the basic measurement, the 2.5, the point of the shoulder slope, then the 7.5 for the shoulder width. Then I took 1 inch downwards, then I connect it. If you are used to my videos, you would have known all this by now. So I mark my shoulder depth or armhole depth, which is 7.5. I also mark 7.5 on that side to ensure I'm on a straight line. Then I connect it. I'm going to give it a sharp curve there. Okay. So having done this, I want to mark the point for my bust span, that's the nipple to nipple. Remember at the front we use 4.25, so we are still using 4.25 for the dart line here. So I'm going to be taking my length measurements. For the front, the bust line is 10.5, but at the back is going to be 9.5. It's going to be -1. So I'm taking 9.5. The same thing is applicable for the waist length. The waist length at the front is 16.5. At the back is going to be 15.5. Then I'm going to mark my hip depth later. I'm just connecting this with a straight line, both the bust line and the waistline. We don't need under bust length in this part of the tutorial because we are working on the back. We only need the waist and the bust line. Then I'm marking the hip depth. For the back, the hip depth I'm using is 8.5. At the front, the hip depth was 7.5, but here it is 8.5. So I will be marking the half length. Remember, the half length we use for the front is 35. From the shoulder to the half length, as right above the knee, is 35. So I connect the 35 as well. It is not an assumption that the paper, the full length of the paper is actually the length that I needed, because we have cut the front and we see how it was. So it's not an assumption at all. I'm just marking this 4.5, which is the dart line or the bust span line all through. Then I'm going to connect all with a straight line down to the hem from the shoulder. If you are enjoying this tutorial, please give it a thumbs up, like, and share it with others. If you are yet to subscribe, you are new to the channel, please kindly subscribe now. Don't forget to hit the notification bell so you can get notification when I upload new tutorials. So I'm connecting all these points together now. That's my straight line. which is also the dart line. So I'm going to be inputting my measurements now. My front bust is different from the back bust. The front bust is 10.25. Now the back bust is reduced. It is 9.5 because we have the bustier shape at the front. We have the bust at the front, so the front is taking more of the measurement. So for the back, it is reduced. For the back, it is 9.25. For the front, it is 10.25. The same thing is applicable to the waist. The waist at the front is 8.75, but here it is going to be 8.25. Then the hip as well. The back hip is more than that of the front hip because there is boots at the back. So the back hip is 11.5, the front hip is 10.5. So I took my 10.5 from the line, and then that extra 3 inches that I have behind, I take it up to complete the hip there. So there I have 11.5. I'm going to connect the straight line, the hip line now, to extend it to the back so we can see the clarity. Okay, so the 10.5 stop on the line while the 11.5 extend to the back. So it will be giving it more at the boot area. Now on my half length, I measured the same thing I used for my half length for the front because we want ease on the knee area. So it is 10.5 and I take this 10.5 down. Connecting it with my straight through line, I connect to the hip point. And on this point I won't be connecting now. I want to take some inches, half inch on the waistline. Remember, our back is not all straight. So we are going to snatch the back to make the clothes to relax well on the waistline at the back so that we don't have a bulge zip. So I minus half inch at the back, then I return this half inch to the front there. Then I'll be connecting this. I'm connecting it to the hip now, from the waist snatching area down to the hip. Okay, I'm just trying to clean the excess line that I have there. Then I connect slightly into the back bodice, into this zip line. Let me call it zip line for the back. You know, we have a line there. I'm sorry, I didn't know the video was actually not showing, but we are going to see this much later. Then from the hip, I connect slightly into the bodice again, just right above the knee circumference. You can see that. You can see the shape of the boot in it. So now I'm going to input my dart. But for me to get my dart at the front there, I need to take the same measurement I have for the back bust on the waist. So I'm taking 9.25 instead of the 8.5 that I have as the back waist measurement. So I mark 9.25. Then I'm going to mark the exact measurement of the waist now. After marking it, then I check what is the difference between the exact measurement and the back bust. It is half inches. So on my dart line, I'm going to be having 0.5 to both sides of the dart line. That 0.5 means half inch rather. Then at this point, I'll take 1 inch upwards. That's my bust line, my waistline, then my hip line. I'm just labeling it for us to see. So on the bust line, I mark 1.5 inch upwards. From this 1.5, then I'll be connecting my dart. You can decide to measure right above your hip, maybe like an inch, or just do it the way I'm about to do it now, anywhere it enters above the hip. So now I'm connecting from my 0.25 to the 1 inch above bust line. The same thing on the other side. I have my dart halfway now. Don't forget to subscribe if you are yet to subscribe. If you are enjoying the video, give it a thumbs up. Click on the notification bell to be notified when I upload new videos. So you can see how it's going now. It just enter right above the hip measurement. So that is my back dart. I can decide to hold this dart just to mark it on the dress without cutting it out. But because of the flounce that is on the shoulder, from the back shoulder to the front, or from the back waist to the front waist, it passes across the shoulder. So that is why I'm dividing this, because I want to have a neat finishing in the dress. So I want this flounce to go in between the fabric and the lining. I don't want to place it on top of it. So that is why I'm having it cut into two at the back. But I can choose not to cut and just hold the dart. So having connected all this, the next thing is to make my shoulder or my armhole curve. So I divided the armhole into two. 7.5 by 2 will give me 3.75, and on that center point I mark half inch out or inside the bodice. Then I use my armhole curve to draw my armhole. Now at the back, I will be adding my zipper allowance. I'm sorry, this part is not really showing. I didn't know. I would have adjusted my camera. So I'm marking 1.25 all through to the waist, to the hip, and I end it at the half length. So the only allowance I'm adding to this while cutting is the is the zipper allowance. I'm not going to be adding seam allowance on the sides. This will be added on the fabric. So just the way I connected the actual point or the actual measurement, I'm connecting the zipper allowance measurement as well. Don't worry, you are going to see this very soon, very soon. I'm sorry, I didn't know my camera wasn't picking it. So you can see I'm connecting it now. So the same thing from the hip to the half length of the gown. So yeah, I'm almost done. And then at this point, I'm going to extend with a straight line to the other border line. Remember the extra 3 inches, you can see the usefulness. The extra 3 inches is for our extended hip, and our zipper allowance. Then we are going to be having a covered slit. So all is included in this 3 inches addition. So I'm just cutting out. I trace it out with my red marker for us to know where I will be cutting. So I'm just going to be cutting this out for us to see it and see how beautiful it is. Okay, if you have enjoyed this video, give it a try. You can see my slit area where my slit will be covered. That's it for you. Then I'm going to go ahead and then cut our dart line now. This is all we have drafted. You can see the boot area protruding there because we have bum now. We are not just straight. Most of the women are not just straight. There is something behind and there is something at the front, and that is why hip and bust allocation is important. You give more to the front for the bust, then you give more to the back for the back bodice. So I'm going to be cutting my dart line now. It is just straight. Don't forget it is optional, but because I want to hide my flounce within this cutting, that is why I'm cutting it out. You can decide to just hold a simple dart. So this is how to cut our gown, our dress with bustier without half cut. No cutting on the waist at all. So thank you so much for staying to the end of this tutorial. Thank you for the likes. Thank you for the subscription. Let it keep coming. I'm just going to cut out the darts now. And this part is going out totally. This will give us the fitness that we want. My voice is going. So this is going to give us the fitness that we want, exactly what we need. Okay, so this is the beautiful outcome after drafting and cutting of our fabric or of our pattern paper. Then this will be transferred into the fabric, and we are going to be adding our seam allowance on the side. And I'm making dresses like this. I like to use at least 3 inches or 3.5 inches allowance on the side. It is not too much. If you feel it is too much, to me it is not too much. I can actually trim out my excess. It is just to be on a safe page. So I like to use 3.5 on the side or 3 inches depending on my preference or on the client. Some clients to say, I may get increase, so please, because let me to add little. So thank you for staying to the end of this tutorial. I hope to see you in our next classes. Have a wonderful time. Bye.